Bonjour mes amis, cette fois on est allé à Montréal, the land famously known for its poutine, maple syrup, really nice people, and what I came to discover as an incredibly rich, diverse, and super affordable restaurant scene. We just got off the airplane, dropped our bags in our Airbnb, and came straight for a welcome beer and some poutine. It's fall time in Montreal, and the leaves are falling, and it's beautiful. Duck poutine, baby. Holy moly, guacamole.
Bem gostoso.
Como? Damn. So last night after our welcome poutine and beers, we went home to take a 1 hour nap at 6 o'clock, and we woke up this morning at 5. So I guess the jet lag got the best of us. And we've been making time since 5 in the morning until 7 to come to the Jean-Talon Market, which is a little farmer's market that is just like 3 blocks from where we're staying on the Airbnb. And we're actually excited to be here because they have an oyster shack, which we were hoping to have for breakfast, but that doesn't open until 9. So I guess coffee and bagels it is for now, and we'll be back for oysters. This is probably one of the most beautiful farmers markets I've ever seen. Even the produce in Montreal look like they're thriving. My favorite part of this entire market has to be the bakery. You can really feel the French influence because the bread here is another level. All kinds of sweet and savory pastries. We tried a few different things, but my absolute favorite was this almond stuffed croissant. I don't know what magical hands made these croissants, but definitely one of the best pastries I've ever had. I have to say that for someone who only recently started eating meat again after 6 to 7 years, I never in a million years expected to eat this much meat. Everything was just so insanely delicious, and I have to say that the quality in Canada is definitely above average. But I definitely came home and went on a full meat detox. Oyster breakfast? So this is the place that we were very excited to try. Montreal actually has a very big oyster scene, and we were the first ones there, so we were guaranteed to have the freshest oysters of the day.
Ah, c'est bon ça! Relativement local.
OK.
Ça ici, c'est vos côtes ouest canadiennes, donc Colombie-Britannique, crémeuse sucrée, très lourde, plus compacte. Puis ici, vous avez Wellfleet des États-Unis, c'est rentré ce matin, je les ai essayés, incroyable. Personnellement, je ferais 1, 2 et 3.
1, 2, 3.
Ça ici, c'est un peu picante, puis ça, c'est à la framboise.
Magnifique. Merci beaucoup.
Enjoy,
Hein?
Merci.
Merci.
Holy shit.
C'est bon?
It's so good. ¿Está tan fría? That's a wrap. I currently live in Kosovo in the Balkans, and there's really not a lot of international food here. So every time I travel, I scout out the Asian neighborhoods because anything that comes from the Asian continent is at the top of my list. So we were not going to miss this opportunity to get our fix of dumplings. They just gave us a Thanksgiving today. Oh yeah, today is Canadian Thanksgiving. Like a little soap. Oh, I think it's a candy soup dumpling. I'm gonna save it for dessert. Double decker.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
Soup dumpling.
是怎么做到的成功感？真的有人买这种。
It's good. It's really good. We bought a weekly transportation pass valid for 7 days for 40 Canadian dollars, and this was crucial to get around because Montreal is a pretty big city. We definitely got our money's worth after taking buses and metros for a whole week. So the city really prides itself on its bagels. I have to say, I didn't actually try a single bagel while I was there because the bagel shops always have a line like 2 blocks outside. So there's nothing I can say about the bagels. I guess you'll have to try them for yourself. We went to this cute hipster cafe for breakfast, and what is better than regular poutine? Breakfast poutine. I have to say, it was pretty awesome.
So good.
So it's not just about the food. We were also on the mission to do some shopping, and I needed a new pair of jeans, and we so happened to find this store called Jeans. So it delivered. After a lot of walking, we took a bus up to this viewpoint that is very famous because you can see the entire city. It was pretty packed, but the day was just so beautiful. There's no doubt that we visited in the absolute best season of the year because winter is approaching and the winter can be very intense. The winter is so hardcore in Montreal that they have to create these shields to protect you from the blizzards. Alright, so this next culinary experience is one that I will truly remember forever. If you've seen my other videos or if you follow me on social media, you know that ramen is my number one absolute favorite meal in this entire planet. And this place just blew us away. Oh my god. Good morning. So I had to record a bit of verdict of what happened last night after we ate that ramen. Something very strange happened. I don't know if it's happened to you guys, but you can literally get high on food. Like the food was so good that it just caused like an explosion of endorphins in our brain, and we just felt like we were high on life and on ramen. So basically there was nothing that we could do after that meal. We were just like giggly and laughing and like kind of like drunk. So we came home and then just like passed out at like 8 p.m. But the point is that I think that was one of the best ramens I've ever had. But we are going to Japan next year, so I know that this list means nothing to how it's about to change after we go to Japan. So if you come to Montreal, definitely go have that ramen. Croissant amande, croissant fromage, brioche cannelle. To all my thrifters out there, Montreal is a city for you. And Eva Bay is one of the most famous stores in the city. I bought myself this awesome old school jacket, which I'm in love with and I've been wearing ever since. For dinner, we went back to Little Portugal, which is the same neighborhood as the ramen restaurant, and we went to Majestic, which is a very well-known restaurant in the city. And this place is so cool. Coolness level is just very high here, and they're famous for their oysters and their cocktails. So all the dishes are a bit small and are meant to be shared. So we got the oysters, we got the pork belly, and the absolute best thing of the night, in my opinion, was the hot dog. They just did it. They managed to elevate a hot dog with a bunch of crunchy onions. So good.
Ven, ven amiguita. No tengo comida, pero tengo amor.
So this is another landmark in the city. Everybody knows about it. There's always a line out the door. And if you watch Phil Rosenthal's show on Netflix, then this might look familiar. This is your traditional Jewish smoked meat sandwich shop, and they are just out of this world. It's insane. We got one to share it, and as soon as we opened it, we're like, absolutely not. We're gonna go back and get another one. You also have these awesome traditional dill pickles. So you take a bite of the meat, and then you take a bite of the pickle, and it's just an explosion of flavor. It's honestly one of the best things I've ever had. I like it. I lost for words. So my travel partner's greatest passion in life are smash burgers. Before we go to a new city, we've already taken a deep dive into their smash burger research, so we know exactly what we want to try. And I have to say, this place is pretty amazing. Getting ready for date night. The good thing about holidays is date night can be any day. It's Wednesday. Is Wednesday?
Yes.
I don't recall exactly how I heard about this place, but it has to be the coolest restaurant I've ever been to. The hipsters truly outdid themselves this time. Not only is the food delicious, but the place itself is just vibing. They repurposed an old flower shop and not changed anything about the exterior, but on the inside, there's this super trendy cocktail bar and restaurant with a modern take on Japanese cuisine. It's definitely more on the expensive side. I think this might have been one of the more expensive dinners we had on the trip, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, you can tell just with the quality and the service and the atmosphere. This is not just a dinner, it's an experience. We got an assortment of sashimi to start with, agadashi tofu, white miso glazed duck, but the absolute best thing were the tantan noodles. Again, I don't know what blessed hands made this dish, but wow, truly epic. And if this place couldn't get any cooler, if you go down to the basement, there's a speakeasy with a DJ and a whole different menu of cocktails. It's 5:30 on a Thursday, and we are going to Quebec City. Ooh, look who comes. Very early train. Having some little breakfast. Because one was not enough. Maple vanilla ice cream swirl. Oh my god, yes!
Is it good?
Maple syrup is so good.
Mmm, qué rico. Mmm, it's so fucking good.
Now I regret getting vanilla. Quebec City really caught us off guard. We really did not expect it to be so beautiful. It's like a fairy tale. The old city is quite small and it definitely feels a lot more expensive than Montreal, so 2 days was more than enough to explore. My first salad of the entire trip. Although the amount of restaurants and different cuisines make it very easy to find awesome food experiences, I do have to say I invest quite a bit of time in reading blogs and reviews and researching. So every single place that I went to on this trip was scouted. It's not just a hit or miss situation where we got lucky. It was a rainy day in Quebec City, so we decided to go to this ramen spot that everyone told us was super good. But after trying the one in Montreal, I have to say this one was just okay, and it definitely does not compete in the big leagues. And that was it for Quebec City. We got the train back to Montreal, which is like 3.5 hours, but the train is super comfortable. Got some work done, and at this point, I was really craving some authentic Mexican. Choripapa, quesadilla de birria y taquitos al pastor, ¿por qué no? It's our last day in Montreal. We're actually just making time to go to the airport. So we had to come back to L'Hamburger because it was really probably one of the best things we ate the entire trip. A simple burger takes the prize. Number one. Would you agree? I don't know. Now that I'm not in the heat of the moment, I might have to disagree with myself. I think my number one is definitely the first ramen we had in Montreal, and my number two would be the smoked beef sandwich. It's really a thing of dreams. We also had to come back to the very first place for this beer because this was the best beer of the trip. It's called Mango Suave, made right here in this brewery. And we're just gonna sit here and sip some beer until it's time to go to the airport. And that's it. That's how we wrapped up this Montreal food marathon. It really exceeded all of our expectations, and we never imagined it was such a cool foodie city. So, to all my foodies out there, if you haven't been to Montreal, push it up to the top of your list.